All right. Hello, Connecticut and parts beyond. I am Richard Carter, and welcome to the Connecticut Income Tax webinar presented by the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services on the 6th day of March 2024. If you enjoy rain, today is your day. Looks like there's a flood watch in effect. Oh, great. Looks like I'll be bailing my basement tomorrow. Despite the coming rains, though, we are thrilled to have you with us today and spend part of your morning here. So this webinar is probably going to spill over an hour. So if you can't stick around for the entirety, not to worry. It is being recorded and will post to the Taxpayer Education Center on our website very soon. Or you could come to the income tax webinar on Wednesday, March 27th at 10 a.m. You'll just have to register for that one like you did for this one today. And speaking of today, we have 5 presenters lined up for you, and we're going to get to them in just a second. But first, I want to give you a preview of what's to come. So we're going to provide an overview of some of the issues that you may encounter while preparing your Connecticut income tax return in the coming days. Now, it's not possible for us to get into every situation, but we're going to try and get into as much as we can in the time we have allotted. So we'll also provide information about myconneCT, which is our new online portal to file and pay Connecticut taxes. And we will give you a tour of our Taxpayer Education Center. And at the end, we will have a section where we will answer the most frequently asked questions we have received. So before we go there, a few matters and reminders. The due date this year is April 15th, which means there are approximately, I believe, 40 shopping days until your Connecticut income tax return is due. And even though you can't file and pay using myconneCT, which you're going to hear about in more detail in a little while, you can still file a paper return if you'd like to, whether it's a CT 1040, an NRPY, or the CT 1040X should you need to amend. And although income tax booklets and forms are no longer mailed courtesy of our friends at the U.S. Postal Service, they are available from our website, which is located at portal.ct.gov/DRS. Now, in order to do that, over there on the left-hand side in that gray box, you're going to see forms, and we can just click on forms. And under commonly viewed tax types, you can click on income tax. There it is. And from here, you will see a plethora of income tax forms and information that you would need. So whether it's 1040s, NRPYs, extensions, schedules, and even the good old-fashioned CT 4852 is on there as well. Now, keep in mind that if you want to file by paper, that paper is slower to process and it can lead to mistakes. But if you file on paper, please remember to include all schedules, because if you don't, your return can't be processed and your refund will very likely be delayed. All right, so we're almost ready to go. Let's just get into some of our contact information if we can. That way, if you have an issue before the department, or maybe you've submitted documents on another matter, here are the ways to get a hold of us. You can contact us by telephone at 860-297-5962, or in Connecticut at 1-800-382-9463. You can also send us an email. Our email address is drs@ct.gov, or if you are familiar with myconneCT, you can zap us a message using myconneCT as well. We'll be happy to answer your questions regardless of what method you choose to contact us. Alrighty then. So as indicated, we have 5 presenters. First up, actually not first up, they're hitting 2 in the lineup. Sorry about that. I'm kind of getting out ahead of my skis here a little bit, but we have Catherine Zandri and Chris Chimura. They're going to present information about the income tax. And then Randy Haraprasad will provide a tour of myconneCT, which is our online filing system. Kelly McLaughlin will handle the Taxpayer Education Center with information of our videos and tutorials. And there'll be a Q&A, an FAQ section all the way at the end. But first, starting us off is Melissa Pescatelli. Now, Melissa is the Tax Division Chief of Legal Services, which also oversees our taxpayer services area. And she is here to provide some information about the agency. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Mr. Carter, and thank you so much for that warm introduction. Good morning, everyone. I am Melissa Pescatelli, the Taxpayer Services Division Chief. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Department of Revenue Services individual income tax webinar. It is designed specifically to help you prepare for filing your 2023 Connecticut income tax return. We are pleased to bring you this event today, which will provide you with important income tax legislative updates and electronic filing information to help you successfully file your Connecticut income tax return. We have some very knowledgeable team members with us today to provide an overview of the important income tax changes, as well as a live demonstration of how to file your Connecticut income tax return using our new modernized filing and paying system. Their presentation will explain how to prepare to file by locating all the necessary documents that are needed to file your return. It will help you get familiar with the DRS new online filing and paying platform, how to file your returns, how to avoid delays in receiving your refund, how to get assistance from the department's trained professionals, and so much more. myconneCT, the department's safe and secure online filing platform, will allow you to file tax returns, make tax payments, and manage your state tax account 24/7, anytime, day or night. The feedback we have received from taxpayers who filed their income tax returns using myconneCT has been overwhelmingly positive, and we are confident that all of you will find myconneCT easy and convenient to use as well. Now, did you know that the fastest and easiest way to file your taxes is electronically? Here are the top 7 reasons to choose electronic filing to file your Connecticut income tax return. Number 1, it's easy. The tax software guides you through the filing process. It asks you questions to help you file a complete and accurate tax return and to claim any credits and modifications for which you may qualify. It's much easier than filing a paper tax return by mail. Number 2, it's completely free. Use myconneCT, the department's new modernized electronic filing and paying platform, to file your taxes from the comfort of your own home. The service is free for all taxpayers and is not subject to any income limitations. Number 3, it's convenient. You can e-file from your home computer or mobile device anytime, day or night, and receive immediate confirmation of filing. Number 4, it's safe and secure. The department uses state-of-the-art modernized technology to protect your confidential information. Number 5, by filing electronically and choosing direct deposit, you'll get your refund much faster than waiting for a paper check in the mail. Number 6, you can make an electronic payment when you file electronically. If you happen to owe taxes, you can electronically file early and schedule an automatic payment from your bank account on any day up to and including the filing deadline. Number 7, using myconneCT, you can send a confidential message through your account anytime, day or night, and you will see a response from the department posted in your account. Now, for more information about myconneCT, I encourage you to visit the department's website at drs.ct.gov. In addition to all of the helpful electronic filing information and resources on the department's website, look for the important 2023 income tax updates, including the changes expected to the income tax rates for 2024. For residents living in New London County, the department has recently posted guidance on its website to extend the filing and payment of certain returns to align with recently announced guidance issued by the IRS. If you reside in New London County, you will want to check out Taxpayer Services Special Bulletin 2024-1. Beyond that, should you have any questions or issues that arise as a result of today's presentation or any time during the filing season, do not hesitate to contact us. We have a great team of experienced professionals who are ready to have a confidential discussion with you about your specific facts and circumstances related to the filing of your Connecticut income tax return. You can reach our Taxpayer Services staff at 860-297-5962 or 1-800-382-9463. You can also email your questions to drs@ct.gov, and the department will respond to you within 2 business days. Again, welcome to today's presentation, and remember that the staff at the department stand ready to help and will be an important resource for you. Now, Mr. Carter, it's back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Excellent. Game on, right? Here we go. So still to come is a demo of myconneCT, our new online filing system. But first, let's bring in Catherine Zandri and Chris Chamura. They're going to present information about the income tax. I believe Chris is up first, I think. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm going to get myself in trouble by making a prediction. Anyway, good morning, guys. Take it away.
Morning. Okay, so what's new for the 2023 income tax filing season? The following is intended to provide an overview of certain legislation enacted during the 2023 regular session of the Connecticut General Assembly. The information in this webinar is not intended to be a complete analysis of each and every aspect of recently enacted legislation, but is intended to inform and alert taxpayers and practitioners of the enactment of such legislation. The department will issue more detailed guidance regarding certain aspects of the legislation and will post such information to its website as it becomes available. Okay, so what do we got? What's new for the 2023 tax filing season? First off, there's the sunset of the angel investor tax credit. So effective July 1st, 2023, no additional tax credits shall be reserved for investments made in qualified Connecticut business on or after July 1st, 2028, or for any investments made in qualified cannabis business on or after July 1st, 2023. For the individual retirement account, or IRAs, the Public Act 23-204 exempts income from individual retirement account distributions other than the Roth IRAs for taxpayers meeting certain income criteria. So to the extent properly includable in gross income for the federal income tax purposes, for a person who files under the federal income tax as an unmarried individual or married individual filing separately or filing as head of household whose federal adjusted gross income for such taxable year is less than $75,000. Or married filing jointly individuals whose federal adjusted gross income for such taxable year is less than $100,000. So by law, commencing January 1st, 2023, the IRA exemption phases in over 4 years. For the 2023 taxable year, taxpayers are allowed to deduct 25% of any distribution from an individual retirement account other than a Roth IRA. Now we have some good news for the earned income tax credit. The earned income tax credit increases from the current rate of 30.5% to 40% of the federal credit. Now, earned income includes all taxable income and wages you get from working for someone else, yourself, or from a business or farm you own. Types of earned income include wages, salaries, or tips, where federal income taxes are withheld on Form W-2 Box 1, or income from a job where your employer didn't withhold any tax. And then money from all self-employment. Now, this includes non-taxable combat pay, owning or operating a business or a farm, certain disability benefits you receive before reaching the minimum retirement age, ministry or religious order income, union strike income, statutory employee income. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the teacher's retirement subtraction modification. Though there are no changes for 2023, I believe it's something important to discuss. So unlike the pension and annuity deduction, the teacher's retirement pay subtraction is not subject to income limitations. So retired teachers may claim either the teacher's pension subtraction, or the pension and annuity subtraction on the income they received from the Connecticut Teachers Retirement System. But remember, Connecticut does not allow a double benefit for the same income. Now, since the teacher's retirement income is not subject to income thresholds, it may be more advantageous to take the teacher's retirement subtraction modification rather than the pension and annuity subtraction modification. So, for example, if the federal adjusted gross income is below the pension and annuity income threshold, it may be more advantageous to take the pension and annuity subtraction modification. But if the federal adjusted gross income is above the income threshold, it may be more advantageous to take the 50% teacher's retirement subtraction modification. The teacher's retirement subtraction modification may be claimed on line number 45 of Schedule 1 on Form CT 1040. Now, this is very important. You must have received a 1099-R from the Connecticut Teachers Retirement Board to be eligible for the subtraction. Okay, what to expect for 2024? Now remember, these are all this is subject to change by the General Assembly in upcoming legislative sessions. But we have some good news for the income tax. There is a reduction in certain income tax rates. First, it lowers the two lowest marginal rates from 3% to 2% on the first $10,000 earned by unmarried individuals and the first $20,000 earned by married individuals filing jointly or earned by a person who files a return under the federal income tax as a surviving spouse. Then it reduces from 5% to 4.5% on the next $40,000 earned by unmarried individuals and the next $80,000 earned by married individuals filing jointly or earned by a person who files a return under the federal income tax as a surviving spouse. So taxpayers making estimated payments should review carefully how this will impact their calculations for those payments. And others may consider filing a new CTW4 with their employers for their withholding tax. Okay. Now there are some pension and annuity subtraction modification revisions for 2024. Legislation effective upon passage provides for phase out for allowable pension and annuity and IRA distribution deductions against income tax starting tax year 2024. Currently, the exemption ends for taxpayers with income at or above the federal adjusted gross income, AGI or AGI eligibility requirements. It was kind of known as the cliff, but the legislators heard the people and made some changes. So if your filing status is single, married filing separately, or head of household with federal AGI for the taxable year of less than $75,000, or married filing jointly with federal AGI of less than $100,000, you receive income from certain pensions and annuities, such as from a defined benefit plan, a 401k, 403b, or 457b plans. You qualify for this subtraction modification. Now, the legislation extends eligibility for the pension and annuity income tax deduction to taxpayers with federal AGIs of between $75,000 to $100,000 for single filers, married people filing separately, and head of household, gradually reducing the deduction for these taxpayers until it fully phases out at $100,000. And legislation extends eligibility for the pension and annuity income tax deduction to taxpayers with federal AGIs of between $100,000 to $150,000 for joint filers, gradually reducing the deduction for these taxpayers until it fully phases out at $150,000. Now, this slide here shows the phase out of the pension and annuity subtraction modifications. So beginning in 2024 tax year, to the extent properly includable in gross income for federal tax income tax purposes, say for a person who files a return under the federal income tax as, say, a single filer, and they were making between $75,000 to $77,499, they would get an 85% deduction. And as you can see, it gradually goes down based on as the increase in the federal AGI. And we'll talk a little bit about the CTW4P and how that's going to be affected by the pension and annuity phase out. So with the 2024 phase out of the pension deductions, taxpayers should submit new CTW4Ps to their pension administrators. So when completing the CTW4P, they must first determine the withholding code based on their filing status and the statement that best describes their federal AGI. Then you would calculate income from all sources. Now, you may deduct 100% of income received from certain pensions and annuities, such as from a defined benefit plan, a 401k, 403b, or 457b plan as follows. So for unmarried individuals, married filing separately, or head of household filers with federal AGI for the taxable year of less than $75,000, or for federal AGI of at least $75,000, but less than $100,000, the deduction is gradually phased out until it is fully phased out at $100,000 for these filers. For married filing jointly or qualifying spouse filers with federal AGI for the taxable year of less than $100,000, or for federal AGI of income of at least $100,000, but less than $150,000, the deduction is gradually phased out until it is fully phased out at $150,000 for these filers. So we recommend that all taxpayers check their withholding once a year, or if their tax situation changes, to ensure the correct amount of Connecticut income tax is being withheld. For more information, you can see informational publication 2024-7, is my withholding correct? Okay, a little more on this. So to determine the amount to enter on line 48B of the Connecticut 1040 income tax return, we start with the figure on line 5B of the Federal Form 1040 or Federal Form 1040 SR, which is the taxable amount of pensions and annuities. So from the amount on line 5B, subtract. If you have military retirement pay, this would be subtracted out on its own line 44. For Tier 1 and Tier 2 railroad retirement benefits, this is subtracted on line number 43. And for Connecticut teachers' retirement pay, this is for teachers who received income from the Connecticut Teachers Retirement Board and are already allowed to exempt 50% of that income from Connecticut income on line number 43 of the Connecticut return. For this, you must subtract the teacher's retirement pay from the figure on line 5B. The subtractions are allowed providing you properly included such income in your federal AGI for federal income tax purposes. Catherine, would you like to take it over from here?
Sure, Chris. Thanks very much and welcome everyone. Hopefully you're staying awake and you're all excited with this information that we're sharing with you. I know I am. So let's talk about the individual retirement account for 2024. Now, under Public Act 23-204, in the case of the IRA deduction for the 2024 and 2025 tax years, the deduction percentage applies to the portion of the income the law allows as a deduction, not to all IRA income. Remember, especially not Roth income. For example, if you remember a few slides back, we showed you the graph where as the income increased, the AGI increased every, say, 2,500 or so, then the percentage that you were allowed to use as a multiplier decreased. That is the phase out that we were talking about. So let's use an example. For instance, a single filer with federal AGI of $80,000. Okay, and $50,000 is IRA income. So they would be able to subtract the 50%, because if we look below, 50% is allowed as a subtraction modification for the IRA for taxable year beginning January 1st, 2024. Remember, this will come into effect when you file your return next year in 2025, not the one you're filing for this year, 2023. That's the 25% deduction. But for the IRA deduction next year in 2024, you would use 50% of the IRA income. Again, not all income, only that is allowed by law. So if we have $50,000 in IRA income and you're allowed to take 50% of that, so then that brings it down to $25,000. Then next we look at the scale or graph that we looked at earlier, a few pages or a few slides earlier. The income, the AGI is $80,000. So for a single filer, the multiplier they would use for that $25,000 of the IRA income would be 55%. So if we use that calculation, they would be able to deduct $13,750 of that income in the 2024 tax year. Again, 50% of the IRA income multiplied by the 55% multiplier in the slide. And that's that slide or graph will be, the information on that slide, that graph will be included in the publications next year and also in my withholding, correct? So you'll be able to find that and use that. And we'll have a calculator on our site as well. So let's talk about what's upcoming. Again, we must remind everyone that this is subject to change by the General Assembly in upcoming legislative sessions. 50% is allowed as a subtraction, as I just said, for the taxable year commencing January 1st, 2024. 75% is allowed as a subtraction modification for the year beginning January 1st, 2025, and 100% is allowed as a subtraction modification for the taxable year starting January 1st, 2026 and each taxable year thereafter. So let's hope there's no changes by the General Assembly in the upcoming legislative sessions. And here we go. All right. Now, it's not often that Connecticut has new subtraction modifications, but in 2024 we do, and that's known as the ABLE account. The acronym stands for Achieving a Better Life Program. And it is a type of tax advantage savings account that can help people with disabilities save and invest for future by allowing them to accrue assets while remaining eligible for income-dependent benefits such as Social Security, income, and Medicaid. The new subtraction modification allows for contributions to the ABLE account up to not to exceed $5,000 for single filers and not to exceed $10,000 per taxable year for joint filers. It is applicable to tax years beginning on or after January 1st, 2024. So you'll be able to use that or take that if you're going to participate in it, take that subtraction modification when you file next year in 2025. The program is administered by the Office of the Connecticut State Treasurer. For more information, please visit www.ct.gov/OTT. And also the corporation tax has an ABLE account as well. Good news. Let's talk about filing electronically. One of the methods the DRS recommends for filing your Connecticut income tax return electronically is myconneCT. It's Connecticut's state-of-the-art, free, secure, and user-friendly online system. Visit our portal.ct.gov/DRS-myconneCT. It's not only the state's safest and most secure options for filing your return. Did you know that you can also make payments, check the status of your refund, view your filing history? You can look at and view and print out previous returns that you filed with DRS. And best of all, send and receive secure messages. So if you have documents that we're looking for, we've requested you can upload it in the send a message feature through myconneCT and send it at a time that's convenient to you instead of having to mail it or coming into our office, although we love to see your faces. Completing the return. Now, the best way, I know that when I have a task to do, I'm going to get myself as comfortable as possible so I can stay focused and I can give all my attention. So filing the return in the comfort of your home in your comfy spot or your favorite clothing, maybe athletic wear with your pet nearby, a cup of tea or coffee, whatever your favorite beverage is, at a convenient time, unrushed, results in less errors when you're filing your return. Okay, receive immediate confirmation once your return is received by DRS. So you know if you've mailed it off, you're hoping it's getting there. What date has it been received? You don't have to call us to find out, did you receive our return? Because we cannot tell you that right off the bat. So this way, you know if you're filing using myconneCT, you have a confirmation number immediately we've received it. What's better than that? The quickest way to receive your refund is to file through myconneCT. It's considered timely if received by midnight, April 15th, 2024. Of course, we don't advise you wait until that moment because if you're anything like me and I start reading or working on the computer, I'll wake up and an hour's gone by. You've missed the deadline. You're going to have penalties and interest. So please don't wait until midnight, April 15th, although you do, for those night owls, you do have until midnight, April 15th. It's as simple as creating a username and password. Please note, if you were the fan of the Taxpayer Service Center that we had in place for many years, that retired recently, you cannot use the credentials, the login credentials from the TSC to log into myconneCT. So you must create a new account, new username and password. Now, DRS takes very seriously its obligation to protect highly confidential taxpayer information. Therefore, we implement the highest of security protocols to ensure taxpayer data is safe and secure. We know how much fraud is out there. We know how quick the fraudsters, once we catch on to them or figure out what their scam is, they're moving on to the next. So we are constantly updating our security protocols that we have in place. Therefore, and one of those methods is myconneCT employs a two-step verification action as part of its login process. You don't have to use it. It is advised that you do. You can disable it and enable it if you so choose. but it is a very important feature of maintaining and confidentiality when logging in. We want to make sure it's you. It's free and available. It's on standby 24/7 for you. myConnect is just waiting for anyone, open 24/7. Taxpayers can send messages day and night through the safe and secure environment of myConnect. Keep in mind, DRS will never reach out to you through text or through social media. So another great benefit of myConnect is if you received a letter from us, you're not certain that it's from us. You can log into myConnect, and under the Action Center, you can view letters and make sure, yes, it has come, because we'll also send it through your myConnect account. Isn't that great? Peace of mind. Billing and refund notices are transmitted by DRS through myConnect, and past filings can be viewed, retrieved, printed, and tax status letters requested through myConnect. It's a great program. Okay, before you start though, we want you to be prepared. We want your return to process quickly, efficiently, and you receive a refund if it's due you as quickly as possible. So what we advise you to do is you have to first have your federal return prepared before you can start your Connecticut return. And the reason for that is there's information on your federal return that needs to be entered on line 1 of the Connecticut return to start the Connecticut return. Also, if you worked in another state, perhaps you live in Connecticut, work in Rhode Island or Massachusetts, please have that other state's return prepared ahead of preparing your Connecticut return. So you want to have your federal return and that other state's return prepared. Now, if you're just working and living in Connecticut, of course, please just have your federal return prepared ahead of time. We need that information. So if any of your parts, so we talked about those of you who may work in another state, if any part of your income was taxed by what we refer to as qualifying jurisdiction with a reciprocal agreement, that means that state gives credit to their residents working in Connecticut for the taxes they paid in Connecticut, and we give credit for our residents who work in that state, another state as well. We have a two-way agreement. Okay, so you may be able to claim the credit against your Connecticut income tax liability for qualifying income tax payments you have made to that state. The other state's tax information is needed to claim those taxes on your Connecticut return or that credit. So please make sure that you have the other state's return filed. So first federal, then Connecticut, or first federal and the other state if you're working out of state, and then Connecticut. Then we can sit down. Next, gather all of your W-2s and 1099s, property tax payment receipts together before filing. Having all your information in front of you to work from will make for a much smoother process. The goal is to avoid having to amend or correct a return later on if you've omitted information. Now, the important thing is that if you've changed your name or your address, a bank account, and or method of receiving a past refund, perhaps in the past you received a check, you had your refund in check form. This year requesting direct deposit. It will delay your 2023 refund. For this reason, if you've not already done so, create a username and profile on myConnect to verify that DRS has the most up-to-date name and or address change on file for you. Now, if you have changed, you can't change your bank account on myConnect because of the fact you've received a check last time. You can, however, make sure your name and address is updated. Your bank account will be verified. It will cause a short delay, but we will verify it before we send it out. We want to make sure your refund gets to you as quickly and safely as possible. We're protecting your refund. Income tax return filing instructions are available on the DRS website 24/7. Open for business all the time. Ready to help. Visit https://portal.ct.gov/DRS. Choose Forms followed by Income Tax. All right, some of you have received a 1099-G or a 1099 NEC. You might say, what is that information? I didn't receive one. Was I supposed to receive one? Oh my God, what happened? Okay, don't worry. If on your federal return for the year tax year 2022, you itemized deductions and reported an overpayment of taxes on your 2022 Connecticut return, you may have received a postcard from us with instructions on how to access and print Form 1099-G in myConnect. The form reports the amount of overpayment, refunded, credited toward a future tax period, or offset to pay another state or federal tax liability or other state obligation on your behalf. Present the 1099-G to your tax preparer for guidance on its treatment for income tax reporting purposes. If you do not engage the services of a tax preparer, it is recommended that you contact the IRS for guidance on the treatment of the income for tax reporting purposes. Not every filer will receive a 1099-G postcard. Taxpayers, again, those who itemized will. Those who did not, those who took the standard deduction on their 2022 federal return and therefore did not itemize, will not receive a 1099-G mailing. With the removal of the state and local tax deduction cap, many taxpayers are no longer itemizing their federal return and claiming that deduction. In this case, the 1099-G amount reported cannot be taken as a subtraction on the CT 1040. Now, the department receives many inquiries from taxpayers who received hero pay during the 2023 taxable year. The payments are taxable federally, and there is no subtraction modification for these payments under Connecticut's income tax. If you have questions, the program is administered by the Office of the State Comptroller, not DRS. Please reach out to the Office of the State Comptroller at 860-702-3300 or visit www.osc.ct.gov. Let's talk about the property tax credit. Now, the credit can only be claimed on the CT 1040 resident income tax return. You have to have been a resident filing a resident return. Connecticut has had to have been your permanent legal residence for the entire 2023 taxable year, or if not, you maintained a permanent place of abode during the entire 2023 year and spent a total of more than 183 days in Connecticut during 2023. The amount of credit given is based upon your filing status and income guidelines. The amount of credit also phases out as your Connecticut adjusted gross income increases. It is taken against the 2023 Connecticut income tax liability, which means if you didn't have any liability, if you filled out the schedule and you're wondering, well, I didn't owe Connecticut anything, but there was a $300 property tax credit. Why am I not getting that as a refund? It is only used against your Connecticut tax liability to reduce or eliminate it up to $300. Therefore, if you do your return and you owe $200, the property tax credit is $300, and you certainly paid more than $300 in taxes, you can only use up to $200 to satisfy your Connecticut tax liability. The remainder cannot be refunded to you. It is a non-refundable credit. It can be taken against your 2023 income tax liability. As I said, qualifying property payments are those made on a taxpayer's primary residence or privately owned or leased motor vehicle or both to a Connecticut city or town. Property tax payments must have been due and paid in 2023. And if you prepaid your 2024 property tax payments, those will qualify as well. Late fees, interest charges for late property tax payments cannot be claimed as part of the credit. And a prior year's tax liability paid in 2023 also does not qualify. The maximum amount that can be claimed is limited to the unsatisfied tax liability reported on the return and cannot exceed $300. A refund cannot be given for the unused portion of the credit. Amount of credit allowed is based on the filing status and income guidelines and phases out as the adjusted gross income increases. Joint filers may include property tax amounts for which each spouse is individually or jointly liable. The number of motor vehicles eligible depends on the filing status shown on page 1 of your Connecticut income tax return. If you're filing single, filing separately, or head of household, your credit is limited to tax paid on one vehicle. If you're filing jointly or qualifying surviving spouse, it's limited to taxes paid on 2 vehicles. What's great is the property tax calculator can help you to determine or calculate your property tax credit. It can be found by visiting myconneCT at portal.ct.gov/DRS-myconneCT. Located below the Individuals panel, select the link View Tax Calculators and click on Property Tax Credit Calculator link. Remember, you must, if you're filling out a paper return, you must complete lines 60 through 63 of Schedule 3, which is the property tax credit, or the credit will be disallowed. We receive many calls regarding what has happened, why is my refund delayed, and for this reason, we're including this information for you. It's very important because we want to process your refund as quickly and safely as possible. Name change. If you have changed your name since last filing with DRS, and what we want to do is we want to receive documentation from you. We need to see the proper documentation supporting the change. So if you've created a myconneCT account, you can upload a copy of your Social Security card or probate certificate, perhaps divorce decree or a marriage license. Before filing your return, upload the documentation in myconneCT so that we can make the change before you file the return. If you don't make that change ahead of time, merely filing it or sending in a return with a different name on it is going to cause the return to stop or suspend. It thinks someone is trying to use your social because there's a different name associated with your social on the return that you're filing. Therefore, again, the keyword is before. Before filing, please visit myconneCT. You can upload whatever documentation is necessary for a name change. That will expedite the processing of your return. Address changes, very important. Also, notify your employer of address change. Make sure they have made that change. You can go into myconneCT, very simple. From the More tab, click on Names and Addresses link, change this address, and you can enter the new address. It shows immediately on myconneCT, and it's in our system. The address change is noted immediately. However, oftentimes we forget to let our employer know. You have changed it with us. They're filing a W-2 for you at the end of the year, or as the year ends, and in 2025, they will be filing a W-2 reporting information. If they don't have your correct address, that's not going to match what's on your return. That's going to result in a delay. We're going to have to verify that information, and that takes time. We don't want to delay your refund. So please make sure that you notify your employer and they have the correct address. If you've recently moved and after updating your address in myconneCT, be sure your mailbox or receptacle alerts your mail carrier of your new presence at the address. Perhaps you've temporarily moved in. You're figuring, I'm going to move in with my sister or brother. In-laws, it's questionable. Would I move in with my in-laws? I don't know about that. But if you're moving in with someone temporarily and until where your permanent location is ready for you, please make sure inside of the mailbox or receptacle, place a note. Please deliver mail here for Catherine Smith, Catherine Jones, whoever it is, to let the carrier know that you're there as well. Otherwise, they will not leave the mail. So we want to make sure, again, that we have all our bases covered and everything's up to date. Before filing a return, make sure all required schedules are completed. If mailing your returns, make sure all pages are included. Most people think that a Connecticut paper return, 1040, stops at the second page because that's the signature page, when actually there are 4 pages to the return. Schedule 1 is additions and subtractions that you're adding or subtracting from your adjusted gross income. Schedule 2 is where you would report the credit for that other state you may work in. And Schedule 3, as we spoke about, is the property tax credit. We don't want you to leave those behind because you're taking credit for it on page 1 or 2. We don't have the supporting documentation. We cannot finish processing the return. Or it's going to result, if we do, it's going to result in a different outcome than what you've expected. With a refund, it may turn it into a liability because we don't have your property tax credit, or perhaps a credit paid to another state. New, Connecticut has a CT dependent form. schedule. Connecticut is now capturing dependent information in the event future grant programs are implemented at the state level for which funds awarded are based on dependent data. We don't give credit for dependents. However, if there is a grant program, we'll have all the necessary information on file and ready to go. So to help you with your application, you must check the Schedule CT dependent box in myConnect and upload the schedule as a PDF. And Schedule PE, which is for pass-through entities, Schedule CTIT, which is a credit schedule, and also if you're filing a non-resident or part-year resident return, Schedule CTSI and Schedule CT 1040AW would need to be included with part of the CT 1040 NRPY. That stands for non-resident or part-year resident filing. Carefully enter all required documentation or information rather. Carefully enter all required information from your W-2s and or 1099s. Make sure you enter it carefully. We have many times seen where people have mistakenly repeated the federal withholding amount as the Connecticut withholding amount. It's not going to match what was reported by the employer. It's going to result in a delay. So again, it's best to file your return in the comfort of your home, maybe while you're relaxed, all your information in front of you, where you can take your time at any time, day or night, because myConnect is waiting, open and available. That's what you want to make sure you're doing, entering everything very carefully. Note, first-time filers will receive their refund check in paper check form. Next, we're going to talk about a refund verification or refund protection program. DRS is committed to protecting taxpayers from identity theft and fraud. This is why we've implemented the Tax Refund Protection Program. The program will curb identity theft and fraudulent tax refunds. Some of you who may be due a state income tax refund will be notified by DRS when the Refund Protection Program indicates the possibility of identity theft and a fraudulent claim. A refund protection or refund verification letter will be sent to the taxpayer. The notice will ask you to visit the DRS website, click the View Identity link from our home page. This is not a link in myConnect, it is a link from our home page. Answer a few questions where the correct answer should only be known to the specific taxpayer. If you fail the quiz, you'll be asked to provide DRS with specific documentation, that which you can upload in myConnect. While this security program may cause a brief delay for taxpayers entitled to refunds, the result will be much better protection for taxpayers and for the state. Please note, if you've received a refund protection notice, you must have it in hand when taking the refund protection quiz. If you've lost your notice or it's been destroyed, we cannot resend it, nor can DRS agents provide needed information from the notice. At that point, you're going to have to upload and send in your documentation. We're going to talk about what happens to those refunds if they were sent out, address has changed, it comes back to us, it goes up as a credit on their account. What happens to those refunds, you may be wondering? Well, they're known as, eventually they are what's known as escheated. Escheat refunds are refunds generated from past year returns. The refunds were issued in the form of checks that have not been presented for cashing, or direct deposit refunds that have been returned or rejected by the bank when sent by DRS electronically to be deposited into a taxpayer's account. Once the refunds are returned to DRS, they are restored to a taxpayer's account as a credit and remain so unless claimed by the taxpayer. The most common reasons to return to us: outdated mailing addresses, erroneously entered bank account information, death of a taxpayer, and business closure are the most common reasons why refunds fail to reach the taxpayer. After DRS loses contact with a customer for a period of 3 to 5 years, we make one final attempt to reunite the rightful owner or heirs with the unclaimed refunds. DRS researches various database sources to obtain the last known address of a taxpayer to mail what is known as an escheat notice. Escheat letters provide instructions on how to claim the refund with DRS. If funds remain unclaimed, they are escheated or reverted back to the State Unclaimed Property Division of the State Treasurer's Office. Chris, would you like to take it from here?
Sure, thank you very much. Okay. What if you need more time to file? Well, as stated before, the due date for filing the Connecticut return and paying tax is April 15th, 2024. So if you're filing by paper, it must be postmarked by April 15th, 2024. And if filing electronically, it must be received by midnight, April 15th, 2024. So what if the deadline is quickly approaching and you need more time to prepare? This is where you would file Form CT 1040 EXT, which is the application for extension of time to file Connecticut income tax returns for individuals. Now, Form CT 1040 EXT requests a 6-month extension of time to file your return. It must be received by DRS on or before April 15th, 2024. Now, remember, a request for an extension of time to file is only a request for additional time to file. So if you anticipate owing tax, make a payment with the CT 1040 EXT, because tax owed DRS must be paid on or before April 15th, 2024. If not, interest and penalty charges apply to any portion of tax not paid by the due date. Now, tax payments made after the due date will be assessed a one-time 10% penalty charge, as well as interest charge at the rate of 1% per month on the outstanding balance. So just try to make your payment before April 15th, and we won't have to worry about any of these things. Okay, some helpful resources on the myConnect page for individuals. Now, DRS offers many helpful tools to assist in the filing process. So you can visit our myConnect homepage, where you'll find helpful hints in our individual panel, such as what's my 1099G amount, as Catherine had mentioned before. So if you itemized deductions on your federal return last year, the amount reported on your 1099G represents the overpayment of taxes that was refunded to you last year or credited to your 2024 taxes. Now, the 1099G amount is added to your income at the federal level on the federal return. DRS suggests that you obtain the 1099G amount from the myConnect homepage and provide it to your tax preparer prior to filing the federal and state income tax returns. You can file an extension if you need more time to gather your information. Just please file an extension. And you can view the calculators, and the calculators include the income tax calculator, property tax calculator, a Social Security benefits calculator, and a Connecticut withholding monthly calculator. You can also check the status of your refund. So we'll give you just a little quick way how to get to myConnect. It will be discussed later in the presentation more fully. So from our homepage here, you see in the middle there, in blue, under most popular myConnect, file, pay, and register tax online. You click on that link, and it's going to take you to the sign-in page. So if you know your username and password, you simply plug it in and log in. If you forgot your username or password, there's a link there. And then if you need to create a username, there's a link there, and then you can follow the instructions, of which we'll explain a little bit later in the presentation. Now here's how on myConnect if you get there, and here's how the options and the different resources look. So for individuals on the left here, you can make a payment, and you don't even have to be logged in to myConnect to do this. You can make a payment or an estimated payment, file a return or taxes, file an extension. As we said before, you can look for where's my refund or what's my 1099-G amount. Now here's a couple of good things here. You can upload your earned income tax credit documents, or if you need to file an earned income tax protest. And then here's the link where you can get to the tax calculators that we just mentioned. Now over to the right are some shortcuts to other DRS resources. So if you need to make a warrant payment, or if you need to get to the Connecticut Real Estate Conveyance Tax Electronic Filing Portal, there's more information, a link to get more information on the Earned Income Tax Credit. There's another link to the DRS publications if you're looking for a certain publication. There's a link to New Business Portal. And then we have links for individual income tax information and also for third-party bulk filers information. Now back to you, Mr. Carter.
All right, very good. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Catherine. They'll be back later after they've had some water. All right, so still to come is a tour of the Taxpayer Education Center and our most frequently asked questions. But first, let's bring in Randy Hariprasad. He's from our e-services area, and Randy is our myConnect expert without a doubt. And he is here to show you the wonderful world of the aforementioned myConnect. Good morning, Randy. Take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Good morning, everyone. My name is Randy Hariprasad, and I work here at Connecticut Revenue Services in electronic filing and myConnect. And today I'll show you how easy it is to get to myConnect, to file and pay on myConnect. We'll talk about getting into myConnect, some additional features, how to make an extension, make an estimated payment, file a return, and send a secure message, update some of your personal information on myConnect, such as addresses, demographics, and how to look up a refund and all that good stuff. So before we get there, it's easy to get to myConnect. All you have to do is just type in portal.ct.gov/DRS, and it will bring you to our DRS homepage. And under the most popular, there's a link here that says myConnect, file, pay, and register taxes online. Another quick way to do that is to just go to Google and just type in myConnect CTDRS, and it will bring you right to myConnect. So let's go ahead and click into this link, which brings me to the myConnect homepage. And I'm going to switch gear here and go to our testing system. So this way we don't get this system confused. All right, so this is myConnect home screen. And as you can see, before we get into creating a username for the first time, as my colleague, they went over some of the slides with you, you can see that the popular slides right now, because it's individual income tax season, under this panel right here, you have options where you can make a payment only, or you can make estimated payment. You can file an extension. You can look up where's my refund and what's my 1099-G. You can even correspond by uploading your documentation, your income tax or EITC credit documentation to the department, or any protest form you have to the department by not logging in. So this is really good options we put for you to use from not logging in. We also have the view tax calculator option, and I'll drill into this to show you a little bit more. So you can use these tools up front to prepare your return before you start filing. We have the income tax calculator, we have the property tax calculator, social security tax calculator, and the CT withholding calculator. So you can check these out when you have some free time. All right, over here we have some additional resources. These all leads to our DRS pages, and they're very important. There's a lot of information here if you wanted to become a bulk filers for, like, let's say if you wanted to submit multiple estimated payment within the year for your clients or extensions, you can do so by becoming a bulk filer. We have some important tutorials here as well. You can check them out, how to file, pay, register, and all that good stuff. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start by click on creating a username. And I'll run through this real quick because many of you probably already know how to create a username. Some of you are brand new, but I'll just do this quick as possible. As you can see here, there's some information on the screen to read up. I'll go ahead, I'm an individual user. I'm going to go ahead and select I'm an individual user. I'm going to go ahead and enter my social security number. Okay, that's what the system wants you to have before you create a username. I enter that information, then I have to enter my last name. And then I click next. So the system was able to validate me for the first step. If there's an issue and the system not able to validate you, we'll provide messages for you to tell you what's the problem, what you need to do. So now my next step is to select my access type, which is individual income tax. And it's asking me for my federal adjusted gross income on line 1 of the 1040 or the CT 1040 NRPY from one of the 3 most recent tax year returns. So for example, I'm going to go into my 2022 return because I didn't do the 23 yet. I'm going to enter my adjusted gross income here. Once I enter that figure in there and I click next, the system will validate me. Again, if the system doesn't like the figures, it'll give an error and says, you know, the system is now matching whatever you're entering. I'm just going to create a username real quick here. Randy IND for my username, enter my email address, and now I'm going to do my security. Please note on the right side, the minimum 8 characters for your password. So uppercase, lowercase, and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to create a password real quick here. Confirm my password. And then I need a security question. And I'm going to enter the answer. The security question is really important that you remember what kind of question you chosen and what kind of answer, because if you forget your password, we will ask you the security question when we send you the email to reset your password. So everything looks good, completed, and I'm all going to click yes. It's just basically the system is telling me I already used my email address if I wanted to continue using the email address because I already created prior username and password with the same email address in the system. As you can see on my screen, the profile summary looks good. I got my username. Everything breaks out nice and neat for me. And now I'm going to click submit. And I'm going to click OK. And I created my username. Before I enter my new username and password in there, I'm going to show you how to forget your username and password. So let's say if you created your username and password today, you didn't go into the system today, but you come back 3 days later and you forget the username and password because you didn't write it down. You simply click on the forget username and password, and then you enter the username that you created. System will send you a link to create a temporary password link, and you will create a password. If you forget your username, you will enter your email address that you create the profile, and the system will send you your username in your inbox. So it's very easy to, self-serve yourself here, instead of like, oh, I have to call DRS now to reset myself. But these are all the things that you can do on your own on myConnect. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the information that I created. I enter my username. It's not case sensitive, so which is a good thing. I enter my password. And then I click login. And it says my password is incorrect. Let me see here. I'm gonna use a different. Okay, there. All right, so now I am in myConnect. And as you can see here, upper left corner, it says my name, my partial of my social, and my address in here. And it says welcome Randy Test on the right side of the screen. There's a lot of information in myConnect that you can do on your own here. But I'll go through some of the screens first before we drill into the return. For example, manage my profile. You can update your security questions. You can set your two-step verification process. It's an extra layer of security. We recommend that you do set that up. You can do that on authentication app, or you can do that on your phone or email address. You can update your email address. You can update your phone number here as well, or change your password. So I'm going to return back to the summary screen. In the Action Center is very important. I like the Action Center. The Action Center is basically any correspondent DRS sent you that you have a return that's coming up for the due date, 5 days or 15 days after the due date. Any letters we sent you, all of that will be in the Action Center. You will see indicators in here. For example, this is telling me that I have 2 unread messages, and I need to read them. So that's basically what it's saying here. So check out the Action Center. It's a cool tool that we have put out there for you to check it out. Also, we have the More tab. The More tab, you have the submissions. You can manage payments and returns, start submissions. The taxpayer update is really important because let's say addresses, for example, your refund. So, you file your taxes, now you're waiting for your refund. If your address is not up to date with the department, you are not able to get your refund. It will just come back to us and sit there until the address is correct. So we need for you to verify your address, and you can always update your address here instantly. And I think my colleague already went through this, how to update the address on myconneCT. You simply click on manage name and addresses. You can you can make name changes, you can address changes and all that good stuff here, and instantly that will come to us and update in our system. Over in the correspondence, you can correspond securely with the department by sending a message, and the department will send you back a message, and so you can correspond there. You can request a status letter. A lot of people will request status letter. You can view any letters in there, and again, view messages. We have some additional feature, but I'm not going to go through with them, like penalty waiver, power of attorney. The other links here that I showed you earlier that you do not need to log in, we also have them if you happen to log into the system. Where's my refund and what is my 1099-G amount? Or if you have a stolen refund or a missing check or something like that, you'll need to fill out form CT 3911. We make this available for you as well on myconneCT. All right, we'll return back to the summary screen and we'll get started. All right, so you can see here there's an extension link. So if you need to file an extension, you can click on the file an extension for your individual income tax. It says here, my returns is due for December 31st. Oh no, this is for the tax year, I'm sorry. So the due date is April 15, 2024. If you need to set up a payment plan, let's say if you have prior year that you owe money and you need to set up a payment plan with the department, you have the option of setting up payment plan on myconneCT, make a payment. You can make estimated payment in there. And we'll talk a little bit more on prior returns, how to amend those. So first, let's get started by clicking on File Now, which is filing a return. And this will bring us to some information on the first screen here. But before I go, I just want to let you know another cool tool that we do provide for you. Let's say if you're filing your individual income tax return and you're stuck, you don't have all the figures or you don't have the information needed to enter in one of the schedules, don't worry, you do not lose your information. You can always click the Save Draft feature at the bottom of the screen. This Save Draft feature will save your return for 30 business days in the system. Let's say if you don't go back into 30 days or you forget to go back in 30 business days, the system will send you an email before it deletes in the system and says, hey, Randy, you have a return you started if you would like to go back in and complete it, or just leave it, ignore it, and then the system will automatically delete it after 30 business days. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click continue editing because I want to get back into return. And now I'm going to go ahead and click next. And it brings me to my filing information. I'll say my filing status will be single. It pre-pops all my information here, which is a good thing. All you need to do is just Verify that the address is correct, the name and your last four of the social. And let's say if you do need to update your address again, you go back to the More tab and then click on the Taxpayer Updates panel to make any changes of your name or addresses. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And now I am going to select 1040 Connecticut Resident Income Tax Return. And also I'm going to select the Schedule CT dependent because I will have an option later on in the return to upload my Schedule CT dependent. Although dependents are not taken into consideration for CT income tax purposes, the department is suggesting that you complete the schedule to report dependent claim on your 2023 Federal Form 1040. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click Next, and this will bring me into my adjusted gross income. I'll simply enter some figures here for my adjusted gross income, and then I do not have any Schedule 1 or subtraction or addition. And now I'm going to get to the next screen, and we talk about the property tax credit, so I'll spend some time on this. I'm going to enter my property tax credit, the amount paid, and the city is Hartford, and it's a home or house or whatever description you want to put it in there. And I made one payment. It needs to be in that tax year that you're doing, so which is 2023. And I'm going to select January. I paid, and then I also paid twice, so it'll be June of 2023. And there we go. So now I have my two dates. I have my dollar amount in there. Once I plug that in, over here I have some auto information to enter, but I do not have any auto, so I'm not going to enter that information. As you can see, I plugged that information in here. It's telling me line 68. I'm getting back $165 of my property tax credit. The max is $300. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and click Next, which brings me to Schedule 2. I have nothing on Schedule 2. And many of these schedules, I do not have anything, so I will go through them quickly. I do not want to spend too much time to hold you up. And also these here, I don't have anything on there. I do have Schedule 4. I have individual use tax to report because I purchased some items and I did not pay any taxes. So now I'm reporting that taxes on line 69B, which is the 6.35%. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And now it brings me to the important part, which is the withholding schedule. And this is where I'm going to enter my information on here. So I'm going to say W-2, and then I'm going to go ahead and enter my federal ID number for employer, and my total wages is, I'm going to say $5,800. And my federal income tax will be $8,500, and my Connecticut tax withheld will be approximately $2,300. Now, let's say if you do have other W-2s or any of these forms in the dropdown to enter, you will continue entering them on here. If you, let's say if you have more than 5 of them, at the end when you enter line 18E, we will have a link pre-pop for you, and it will say enter supplemental withholding information. And that will bring you to another page, and you can enter as many as you wanted to enter in there, or any of these form types that are listed in this dropdown. So for this demo, I only have one W-2, one job, so I enter that information, and now I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And it brings me to the CTIC, Earned Income Tax Credit. I do not have any of those, so I'm going to go ahead and say no and click Next. Pass through entity, no, none of that information. And we make it so easy in here for you. Let's say if you're trying to go to the next screen, you forget one of the schedule, or you enter some information incorrectly, the system will do all the calculations for you. The system will give you messages along the way when you're filing the return. So, you know, it's very easy. All you need to do is read and make any corrections what the system is asking. Now, I do not have 2210, so I'm going to say no to that. And now it brings me to any prior payments and credits claimed with this filing. So as you can see, my balance due is $1,707 for this return, but I'm going to say within the year, I made estimated payment to the department, So on line 19, I'm going to enter my estimated payment that I made throughout the year. So now I entered my $1,000. Now my balance due is $707. So that looks a little bit better. And now I'm going to go ahead and click next. And this is the attachment screen. And remember the CT dependent schedule. Once I check that off, you will get this attachment screen, and then you'll provide that documentation to the department by simply clicking the Add button and attach your documentation for the CT dependent or any other forms that you wanted to submit to the department. You have the option on the attachment screen to do so. Now I am on the next screen, and this breaks it down nice for me. As you can see, the income tax, individual income tax return, the summary. It gives me all my income information that I entered prior. It gives me my tax information, as you can see here. And then it gives me any refund information on the amount owed. And in this demo, I owe money. So it tells me line 26 tax amount due and line 30 total amount due if I was late, if there's estimated interest or penalty, but I'm filing a timely return, so there's none of those. So now I'm going to go ahead and click next, and it brings me to my payment information. I have the option of making a payment plan, or I can pay after the filing, or I can choose the bank account or credit card option right now. And once I go next, I have the option to either pay by credit card or a bank account. I'm going to go ahead and choose bank account, and that will bring me to confirm my dollar amount here, which I did. And also, because I'm filing on March, my payment date is March 6th. My due date of the return is April 15. So I do have the option of scheduling out this payment up to April 15 because I know I'm not going to have the money today, but by April 15, I will have the money in there to pay the department. So you can do so by scheduling, but you cannot schedule the payment over April 15. After April 15, the system will not allow you to do so. I used this bank account before, but I'm going to go and show you how to when you wanted to use a new payment channel. So I'll simply click on that. It's going to ask you for direct payment. Select that. Enter the routing number. Once you enter the routing number, your bank will pre-pop in the field here. So this way you know you're entering the correct banking information because you do not want your payment to get rejected, and then you have to go back and reinitiate your payment again back to the department. I'm going to confirm my bank account, select checking, and I'm going to say no, I do not want to save it for the future, or I can say yes, I do want to save it for the future. If I click next, everything looks good. Now I'm on my confirm submission. This is where I simply enter my name for my signature, and then I click submit. And as you can see, here's my confirmation number, and you will also receive a confirmation number in your inbox to tell you that you successfully submitted your return and made a payment to the department. And if you want a printable copy, you can do so by clicking on the printable view. This will open up a PDF copy for you, and everything that you entered up here, there's some demographic information, your payment information. On the bottom is each line items that you went through with all the schedules that you fill out will be on this PDF copy here. Let's say if you walk away from your computer or you've totally forgot to print the printable copy, don't worry. We always have that information for you 24/7. So what you can do to get that information, come back to the summary screen, click on the More tab. Once you click on the More tab, the Submission tab, search submission. And once you search submission, you can see if this return was processed. Let's say if you come back tomorrow, it'll be under process, but because I just submitted it, it will be under pending. And then you just simply click on the 1040 hyperlink, and then you can print a PDF copy again right here. So it's always going to be there for you, the print option. Now I'm going to return back to my summary screen, and I'll show you quickly how to get into the amended return. We're not going to go through with it because it's very simple, just like filing a return, but I'll show you how to find prior periods to amend the return. Over here where it says view file returns and view period details, I'm going to drill into that hyperlink, and that will bring me over to the returns option here. And if I click on the period option, this will give me all the breakdown of my period as well and my balances and all that good stuff. If I click on the return option, you can see here, let's say, for example, I do want it to amend the December of 2021. I will have the amend link here. I drill into the link, then I click next. And how I know I'm in the amended return, because there's going to be a big banner on the top of the screen saying this is an amended return. And then you just make any correction necessary and then you submit. You will get a confirmation at the end again and a printable copy for your records. And then you submit your amended return. Okay, so that's all I have for today. We talk about some of the links that we do have on the non-logged on process, where you can simply look up your refund, what's your 1099-G amount, make estimated extension payments by not logging into the system. We make it easy for you, but there's benefits for logging in. So we also recommend that you create a username and password to get into the system to file, pay, and update addresses and names and all that good stuff. We filed a return. I show you to make an extension, estimated payments, and how to file and amend your return. That's all I have for today. And thank you all for listening. And back to you, Mr. Carter.
All right, well done, Randy, as always. Excellent work. Okay, so the frequently asked questions is still to come, but first let's take the Taxpayer Education Center out for a test drive, and that means Kelly McLaughlin. We'll give Kelly a second to get ready, as she's been busy behind the scenes, but Kelly's a state project manager in our organizational development area, and some of the things you're going to see she created, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes and we'll do the FAQs. Take it away, Kelly.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Today I'm going to give you a brief tour of the DRS Taxpayer Education Center. The Taxpayer Education Center can be found halfway down the DRS homepage at portal.ct.gov/DRS. Taxpayer Education Center was created through the lens of a Connecticut taxpayer. The TPEDC provides informational videos and other educational resources, like registration for any upcoming webinars and new business flyers. We also have 2 video series, one for Connecticut residents filing and paying income tax, and the second series is for Connecticut non-resident and part-year residents filing and paying Connecticut income tax. Then we have videos that are specific to navigating our website. At the very bottom, you can find any previously recorded webinars. In about a week's time, you'll be able to find a recording of today's webinar. Videos will be added and updated often to reflect the most asked questions from taxpayers. The videos provide a quick and easy walkthrough of the topic presented. Thank you, and now back to Mr. Carter.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Well done. All right, so as promised, it's time for our FAQs, and these come in from phone calls, emails, et al. And for that, we're going to bring back Catherine and Chris, who as revenue examiners on the front lines, they get these questions often. All right, long time no see, guys. Are you ready?
We're ready.
All right, I'll take that as a yes. All right, here we go. When I check on the status of my refund, I am receiving a message that has been modified. What does that mean?
Well, the amount of your refund has changed for one of the following reasons. There could be a mathematical error. It could be that your refund was applied to as an existing liability with DRS or another state agency or the IRS, or after processing your return, it was determined that additional information is needed for the earned income tax credit you may be claiming. DRS will send you a written notification within 10 days of your return being processed, explaining the reason for the modification.
Excellent. All right, good start. There we go. Number 2, under review. What does that mean?
Okay, I'll take that one. It simply means your return is one of the many still processing. Now, if additional information is needed to complete the process, DRS will reach out to you.
Excellent. All right, next up. Why was my refund amount reduced?
Well, your payments or credits claimed on the return maybe can't be verified. Perhaps you thought you mailed us a payment. Oftentimes people mail it. What they think they're mailing to us, they're mailing to the IRS, so we don't have their payment. Perhaps again, there's a math error, or there's missing schedules or omitted information. Remember, it's very important to include all pages and to make sure that you filled out all lines on the credits, the schedules that you're claiming. Your earned income tax credit may be awaiting approval. So if you've overpaid your withholding, we will refund the overpaid withholding. And then once your earned income tax credit is approved, we'll refund the difference to you. But while it is being approved or being reviewed for approval, we will release the overpaid withholding to you, which will show less than what you've expected. But the rest will come once the EITC, if the EITC is approved. Perhaps when you paid someone to, or when you engaged the services of a paid preparer, you might have made arrangements with them to say, well, you could take it out of my refund. That may be coming out of your Connecticut refund. So that could be something that is occurring and has reduced your refund. You may need to look at, did it come out of the withholding? Did it come out of your refund for federal? Maybe Connecticut processed first before federal, and it was taken out of there. So you would have to talk to your paid preparer to see if they received some of your refund. Perhaps it was offset. Could have been offset to another state obligation, something maybe with a state university or child support or other types of state liabilities may have reduced your refund. And you may have, your joint filer may have an obligation. Part of your refund was taken to pay your joint filer's obligation. So there are various reasons that could reduce your refund.
Yeah, there's a lot there for sure.
Mhm.
All right, next up. How much time should I wait before calling DRS?
Okay, just you must remember that nothing's immediate. So for direct deposit requests, you must allow 3 to 5 business days before the refund reflects in your account. Direct deposits are not immediately reflected in your account. So please check your bank statement or call your bank after 5 business days from the refund date. Now, for paper checks, please allow 10 business days to receive the refund before contacting the department.
Okay, thank you, Chris. All right, up next. I received my refund check, but I need to amend my Connecticut income tax return. What should I do if my Connecticut tax liability will increase?
Well, if you received your paper check already and you haven't cashed it, then what we'd like you to do is write void in large letters across the full face of the check. And then what we'd like you to do is to return it to DRS as soon as possible with a letter explaining you'd like it applied back to your account. You're amending your return and you're going to owe DRS tax. We will put it up on your account as of the date that the refund became available, and it will await your amended return and be applied to your liability. You should pay any additional amount that your amended return shows as due on your income tax. Mail the check and the letter listed on your refund check to the address listed on your refund check. Our DRS physical address is printed right on the refund checks. Mail it back to the attention of but make sure to include Attention Revenue Accounting Department, 11th floor. If you received a check and you have cashed it, you will have to pay the amount due on your amended Connecticut return. Make payment on or before April 15th to avoid charges for late payment.
Okay, very good. All right, this one, yep, I've seen this one come up quite a lot. How can I obtain my W-2?
Okay, so first thing you would do is contact your employer, see if it's been sent to you. If not, if you can't get it that way, if you're not able to obtain it from your employer, see Form CT 4852, which is substitute for Form W-2 wage and tax statement, or Form 1099-R distributions from pensions, annuities, retirement or profit sharing plans, IRAs, insurance contracts, etc.
All right, thank you. Up next, How do I determine the amount of my Social Security benefits that are excluded from the calculation of Connecticut income tax?
Well, remember Chris in his prior presentation explained and went over all of the great tools we have with myConnect, and those are the calculators, one of which is the Social Security benefits calculator. So from visiting myConnect homepage, you can, below the individuals panel, you can click on these view calculators and choose the Social Security benefit calculator option.
Fantastic. All right, up next. I mailed my Connecticut income tax return, but forgot to include the payment. How do I make the payment?
Okay, well, you have the option to make your payment electronically, or you can send a check through the mail. Now, DRS recommends that you make your payment electronically because myConnect provides a confirmation number with the time and date your payment was submitted. And this reduces the possibility of errors, the check being lost, or possibly being stolen. So we recommend that you send it electronically through myConnect. It's the safest, quickest possible way.
All right, thank you, Chris. Up next, I filed my Connecticut income tax return and forgot to enter the estimated payments or payments applied from last year. Should I file an amended return?
No, it's not necessary to file an amended return. DRS will verify the amount of your payments that are on file with us and automatically correct your return to show the amount reported that should have been reported on your return. No need to amend.
All right, thank you, Catherine. Up next, where should I send the supporting earned income tax credit documents requested?
Okay, now to expedite the review process, please upload the requested documents using myConnect. And that was on one of the, right on the front page of the myConnect thing. You can do it there. So you click on the upload earned income tax credit documents link and enter the letter ID from the EITC information request that you received in the mail from the DRS. If you're not comfortable with that, you can mail the documentation, and you must send it within 30 days from the date of the notice to the Department of Revenue Services, P.O. Box 2980, Hartford, Connecticut 06104 2980.
All right, good to know. All right, here we go. Coming down the home stretch. I received my refund check, but it was lost, stolen, or damaged. What should I do?
This is the most common call that we receive. You should complete form CT 3911, which is the taxpayer statement regarding state of Connecticut tax refund. Now, the best way to do that is using myConnect. There is a feature on the More tab, scroll down, where's my refund? There's a link there for filing the CT 3911 electronically, the quickest way to get to us with it. And then we'll start the researching for where the check is.
All right, good to know. All right, up next. DRS indicated that my refund was direct deposited, but my bank records do not show that the money was deposited. What should I do?
Well, this one is simply doing what Catherine just mentioned. You go into myConnect and you complete the form CT 3911, the taxpayer statement regarding state of Connecticut tax refund using myConnect.
That's right. It's for both checks and direct deposit. Right, check.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, up next. How do I stop my pension provider from withholding Connecticut income tax?
I'll fill out a new CTW4P, which is the withholding certificate for pension and annuity payments. And on line 1, you would enter E as in Edward, which also stands for exempt, and that will result in 0 Connecticut withholding from your distributions.
All right, very informative. Excellent. All right, last question. How do I retrieve my 1099-G information from myConnect?
Okay, so go to myConnect and you select what's my 1099-G amount, and below that it's below the individuals panel on the myConnect homepage. And to download a copy of the 1099-G, you'll need to create a username and a password to log into myConnect. And from the summary page, click More, And then under letters, you can go to view and print your 1099-G.
All right, excellent. Hey, thank you, Catherine and Chris, both of you. A lot of heavy lifting today. We much appreciate it. Get a well-needed rest there. And that's going to conclude our presentation today. So I want to thank you, everyone, for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedules to do so. I know it ran long, but we wanted to be thorough and get you as much information out to you as we could. So a tip of the hat to those that stuck around for the entire thing. If you missed any part of the proceedings, a recording, as Kelly mentioned, will post to the Taxpayer Education Center on our website within a week or so. You can also come to the income tax webinar on Wednesday, March 27th at 10 a.m. You'll have to register just like you did today. If you have any questions coming up on any tax matters whatsoever, whether they're income tax, sales tax, you got something going on with your business, by all means, you can contact us. And you can do that by giving us a phone call at 860-297-5962, or in Connecticut, you can use the 1-800 number from anywhere. That's 1-800-382-9463. Of course, you can always send us an email. The address for that is drs@ct.gov. And you can send us a message through myconneCT. You can take that out for a test drive and zap us a message that way as well. And don't forget, you can certainly visit our website at any time. That's located at portal.ct.gov/DRS. There's all sorts of information out there. There's forms, there's publications, there's video. Don't be shy. Hit the website if you can. That's going to do. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention too, our business hours are 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. So on behalf of my fellow presenters and DRS, I want to thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you next time. So long, everybody.